Welcome back, everyone. Let's welcome Rakovina Therapeutics, who trades on the TSXV under the symbol RKV. They are a biopharmaceutical company focused on developing new treatments for cancer. And they recently presented data at the American Association of Cancer Research, highlighting progress related to their novel DNA damage response inhibitors, and also closed an insider-led convertible debenture financing to accelerate development of their lead product candidate towards initial human clinical trials. Please welcome Jeff Bacha, Executive Chairman, and David Hyman, the CFO. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Anna. It's nice to see you again.
All right, so tell us a little bit about the AACR presentation and why investors should be excited about this new data.
Well, first, we were quite honored to be invited to present our research at the AACR annual meeting, which is attended by over 20,000 researchers, pharmaceutical partner representatives, the FDA. It's just a great showcase for developing companies with promising research like us. So the new data that we presented demonstrate really the power of our KT-3000 dual function inhibitor in treating cancers that generally don't respond to or have become resistant to a class of treatments called PARP inhibitors. And these PARP inhibitors have become the mainstay treatment in major cancers such as ovarian cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. And what we now know is that the patient's cancer eventually will become resistant to that treatment. And what our data demonstrate is that we have the potential to overcome that treatment and to potentially address that unmet medical need. Now, our data specifically was in a type of cancer called Ewing sarcoma, which is a childhood tumor that occurs in the bone and the soft tissue surrounding the bone. And in this case, the cancers don't respond to PARP inhibitors. There are some other treatments that can be used in the front line, but when it recurs, there's really nothing that's approved by the FDA, and the 5-year survival for these children is dismal. It's less than 13%. So for us to have data that's showing the potential there, as well as in these major cancers, is very exciting to us, and I think was well received by the audience, and very exciting in terms of the potential of moving that toward human clinical trials.
Absolutely, I'm sure it was. So talk about how this new funding will impact the company.
Well, as you mentioned, this was an insider-led round that will allow us to finish the steps in selecting a final lead candidate from the KT-3000 series to advance into human clinical trials. And in this financial environment that we're all in, we're really grateful to have a close-knit group of supporters that really believe in what we're doing. So alongside of the team who we all invested as well, we had some great supporters, and we're really grateful to have that. And this will really allow us to accelerate the work that we're doing in collaboration with the University of British Columbia and move something toward human clinical trials as rapidly as possible. It's a really exciting time.
So your initial focus is a cancer called Ewing sarcoma. So why focus on that disease, and what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, as I mentioned, this is a major unmet medical need, recurrent Ewing sarcoma. The 5-year survival rate of less than 13% for the kids and the adolescents who are suffering from this, and it's something that is close to all of us in terms of something that we would really like to address. It's certainly a stepping stone into major cancer markets, but focusing here first. And working with great foundations like the St. Baldrick's Foundation, who has supported some of the work along the way, is really something that we believe is very meaningful and important. There are benefits to this. As I said, it's a stepping stone into major cancers, but even the FDA provides some incentives toward toward our work in this area. So if we are able to have something approved to treat Ewing sarcoma, a rare childhood tumor, there are financial and other incentives that the FDA offers. For example, there's something called the Rare Childhood Disease Voucher, which is awarded to a company who would have something approved in a rare childhood cancer. And that voucher is kind of like a golden ticket for your next project. You kind of go to the front of the line with the FDA. and you can sell them. Those vouchers have sold in recent years for over $100 million to other pharmaceutical companies. So that's an added benefit. But really, we believe that this mechanism, the dual mechanism of PARP HDAC inhibition that the KT3000 series has been designed to have, is ideal in this situation for Ewing sarcoma, and that we can really do something good here. And we're very excited about it.
Now, what should investors expect in the near term from Rakovina?
Well, in addition to announcements about moving toward and into human clinical trials, near term we're expecting a publication in the Journal of Clinical Cancer Research, which is a major cancer journal. That's really going to tell the story of the KT3000 series from where we started all the way through the animal data that we have here that is really supportive of Ewing sarcoma. I think it's a nice publication that our team has worked very hard to put together. We're honored to have it accepted, and it should be out in print here shortly. And we believe it's going to be very impactful in terms of positioning the KT3000 series going forward.
Now, Keegan Bender from our audience says, asking if you're familiar with Novocure. They came out with positive cancer results about a week ago, but the stock got beat up because of the test metrics they used. Apparently it was outdated. So are you testing metrics and baselines on par with what is accepted currently?
Sure. We're certainly familiar with Novocure and their product programs. They've had some good benefit to patients over the years. It's very important to keep in mind that when you're comparing your results to other results, for example, that you're using the most modern results possible. And, because treatments evolve over time, we do get better and better in treating cancers. And so, for example, we look at the current conditions and current states of therapy in the cancers that we are interested in, not only Ewing sarcoma, but in the major cancers that we look at as well, of ovarian, breast, prostate cancer, and really try to gauge ourselves against current standard of care. But not only that, we look at what else is in the pipeline going through the FDA and make sure that what we are doing is going to address an important unmet medical need when we eventually, hopefully, do get to the market.
Thank you for that. And Mike Vaughn asks, can you talk about approval milestones coming up and give us a timeline?
So our goal is to be ready to move into clinical trials and position to take those steps late this year with the KT3000 series, which would mean we would start treating patients in the beginning of next year. From there, the clinical milestones of establishing the dose that you want to take toward an approval is something that takes generally about a year, give or take. And then you move into pivotal trials in cancer. And this can move very quickly. We often hear about drug development clinical trials taking 7 to 10 years, but in oncology, there are opportunities to move much more rapidly to achieve what's called an accelerated approval. And that can happen in just 2 to 3 years after initial clinical studies. So we always look at those opportunities and try to focus on that. So, we're hoping to move as quickly as possible. First step is really, getting that final molecule drug candidate that we're going to advance into clinical trials, and then we'll be able to really advise on key timelines after that.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for this great update. We would love to see you back in the near future with some more.
Thank you, Anna. We look forward to it.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you soon. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back with our next presenter.